For those who don't know me, my name is Sarah. I'm the Gleaning Project Coordinator at the Chautauqua County Rural Ministry, just a block away. And we have these workshops about twice a month, and our program is funded by the New York State Department of Health. I'm thrilled that our New York State grant actually encourages us to support and work with local businesses rather than just purchasing from like nationwide companies. And I think that's wonderful. At the Chautauqua County Rural Ministry, part of our mission is encouraging people to become self-sufficient in our community and working together to do that, having interdependence in the community. And especially with, we have news in recent months of some factory closings that are happening. I think right now especially is a really important time to be, exploring and learning more about local businesses, supporting local businesses, and maybe getting inspired to start local businesses. So I think Greg and David are really a great example of that. They do a wonderful job, so we're thrilled to be here. As you can see, this location is beautiful, so I'm excited we could have a workshop actually at this location too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, I will let David, if you have anything more to say about your business or yourself, I'll save that for you. But I get to see David and Buster Brown Bean Company twice a week because I pick up compost from them. I know that they're very socially and environmentally conscious and mindful of waste and supporting organizations through the coffee that they purchase and things like this. So all the more reason to be excited that we can be here to hear from David and Greg. So thank you for being here.
Hi everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm David, half of the Buster Brown ownership. I'm kind of the guy in the kitchen all the time, basically, that you see running around like a chicken with its head cut off, basically. I'll try to speak. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Unlike Sarah, I actually have a very big mouth, so usually that's not a problem. Believe it or not, I know that a lot of you know that I have like a little history of doing some TV and stuff like that, but cooking live on TV for some reason is like 0% petrifying to me. Doing this is. So I'll try not to be too nervous and mess things up. But if you guys have any questions, I'll try to answer them if you shout something out kind of as you're going along. If I miss something, let me know. Otherwise, write it down and we can try to do some question and answer stuff at the end. I do, as she mentioned, try to source everything as local as possible whenever possible. It is very important because sustainability is so important to being eco-friendly. Sometimes the best way of being eco-friendly is just using the shops next door and the farmers next door, the wineries that are right here, rather than going to big box places. We all have to every once in a while. Lord knows, I'm in Walmart constantly. There's just things that you have to get from a big box place, but whenever you can support a local farmer or a mom and pop style business, please do it, because especially this time of year. This time of year is very rough for all of us who own small businesses, especially in Chautauqua County, especially when there's certain announcements being made that are very sad for a lot of us when it comes to local factories and stuff, okay? So, believe it or not, when we opened up the Cafe and Bistro, soup making was probably my I would say my greatest weakness, but it got to the point where we made them every single day. And there was at one point in time a staff of like 3 of us making the soups. And eventually kind of whittled down to just me. And so I tend to make upwards of anywhere between, I'd say, 12 and 20 gallons of soup a week. Trying to do it on a small scale like this in front of you is actually very difficult for me. So I tried to pare it down because I'm used to using like 20 pounds of sweet potatoes at a time, 2 or 3. So I'm just going to kind of demonstrate basically different steps. It'll kind of follow like the format of seeing it on a TV show in that sense, because by the magic of TV, a lot of this stuff is already done, and that way you guys get to see it how I want it to look when I'm making this, okay? Did everybody get a recipe sheet? Yes. Okay, if not, let us know. We're going to try to print out some more here. And I have a copy here to follow as my little cheat sheet. So we'll start actually by, I like this to be a bit more on the sweeter side. If you don't want that to be the case, then you don't need to add any onions and caramelize them. But in the recipe, I recommend it personally because I like it. This soup was actually developed for one of my best friends who's the wife of a local veterinarian. Her name is Sharon Redfield.
Oh yes, we know her.
If you guys don't know her, they're awesome people over there. She came to me one day and said, "Why don't you ever do a sweet potato leek soup? That's what I want." I'm like, "How do you normally make it?" She's like, "I don't know." So I was like, that's perfect, because now I can do whatever I want.
David,
Nice. So,
move your oil bottle.
there you go.
Thanks, sir.
So, you guys don't have to follow my recipe. My recipe is not the Bible. It's not to tell you what to do. It's just how I do it. And you'll notice at the bottom I put in some substitutions, and I'll kind of explain those a little better than they're written per se at the end. But yeah, it's just very often when I'm developing a recipe, all I do is look up other recipes online, and I kind of find the different things that I like, and I pick and pull at that stuff, and then I create my own thing. Usually the first time I make something I feel like is the best, and then afterwards I'll go back to try to maybe modify it a little bit, and I end up not liking it. So sometimes maybe just trust your judgment. Sometimes the first time is the best time. So, all right. So for the onions, you're not going to need to do too much. I'm just doing this to kind of show you a little trick that I have. I've showed this on the TV show before. Basically, make sure your pan is nice and hot. I usually use multiple forms of fat, meaning oil and butter, oil and pork fat. I have a reputation, for those of you who know me, I kind of love bacon just a little bit. But I don't put it in everything, per se. So, you want to get a sizzle going on that. There's a sizzle, it's hard to hear, but what you want to do is salt and pepper these a little bit, right? The salt is going to help kind of draw the moisture out and break them down. A lot of people are really intimidated about caramelizing onions because it just takes so long, and they're afraid they're going to burn them or some things that affect. My little trick basically, and I learned this from another chef, where's my lid? I take like a little bit of water after they're in the pan. Alright? And you're going to kind of help them start kind of breaking down more or less. So I add a little bit of water, which seems funny because we're trying to draw the moisture out of them, but what that does is kind of helps get the onions moving. It kind of lights a fire under them in that sense. All right, so it's going to help wilt them and make them more translucent, and they'll caramelize for you much quicker that way. Okay. Keep it covered. Use a clear lid, that way you can kind of see their progress. And eventually you're going to want to kind of remove the lid altogether. That's about it for those. Yeah. Keep it at about a medium-low heat. You don't want to turn it down too low because it'll just take forever. Okay. So next we have our leeks. Has anybody ever worked with leeks before? Yeah. Okay. Good. So you guys know how they grow and how they get really, really dirty and gross. Okay. It's true. They get dirty in there. So this top part, you can use these, and I do use them. Like I made Shirley a leek tart one time. And you can use some of these, but you don't want to go too far up. They'll get kind of woody, both in texture and flavor. Okay, so into your compost bin. All right, so in order to speed things along, I don't know if you guys know, basically what you need to do is soak them. I'm going to cut mine in half, half moon, so I cut it in half down the center there. Keep them fairly thin. And I'm not allowing people to help today, by the way, guys. Normally I don't mind, but my knives are very, very sharp, and I'm usually too afraid of anybody getting hurt.
Well, we've seen things with chefs and their knives, so we'll steer clear of that.
Most of my fingertips have been glued back on, no joke, so hopefully not today. All right, so we're going to get these soaking. I use nice ice cold water, and what you should notice at the end, you can break these up and get them out of their rings. Just so that they get washed real well. What you're going to notice is all of the sediment, all that dirt, because basically when a leek grows, it grows up in like a cylindrical tube, layer by layer by layer, and every single time another layer grows up, it just picks up all that dirt and traps it in between those layers, so you're trying to wash those out, okay? And that's what you don't want, because the second someone eats that, they're going to be going, and it doesn't taste good, really, right? So you're going to get those soaking, and then eventually what I do is I just drain those. We're going to start peeling, which obviously isn't a lot of fun, but I've realized in my kitchen that I'm the only person that peels towards myself. I know that everybody's thinking I'm supposed to do that. But all my kitchen staff yells at me for it, but compost bin. Okay, so what's important is, what we're starting to make is that basic mirepoix. Have you guys ever heard that term before? The mirepoix, sometimes in Latin cultures, it's called a sofrito, and in each one of those, it might be slightly different. Standard French in America, the United States, it tends to be like celery, onion, carrot. So that's your basic mirepoix. What we're going to do is make sure that when we break this stuff down, we want it to all